everyone, this is Rachel. Thanks for clicking on my video. And I just got off the phone from talking to one of my friends, and basically what it is that she's found out that her guy is cheating. And you know, just talking to her, it took me back to when I was in her place, and I was the one that was being cheated on. And I'm not going to go into, the circumstances. I'm just going to go into what it makes you feel like. And I remember when I found out, surprisingly in the beginning, I was in disbelief. You know, you're thinking first, how could he do this to me? And then you go from disbelief to your pain. It's a deep, just in your bones pain. And then you go from pain to anger, and you want to like almost tear some shit up. You're so mad. And when you're dealing with that, you are irrational. I know when I was talking to my friend, she was in that angry period, and thinking of doing irrational things. And what I told her is stop. Just stop right now. You know, I know you're angry. I know this is like the most devastating thing that could happen in your relationship, because when you bring a third party in, when one of you is cheating, be it the man or the woman, and you bring a third party in, you don't know what you're facing. And you feel devastated and you want to lash out. And that's where my friend is. And I just told her to, take a deep breath, you know, and, they're in the house together. Just, chill. You really don't know what to tell a person, because every, situation is different. When it happened to me, there were kids involved, there was a home, there was a life. So you don't know what to do. Now, my first instinct was to pack my kids up, pack some shit up, and go to my mother's for a little while until I could like sort out what was going on, and figure out what I was gonna do, and all that kind of stuff. Now, all during the middle of this, you're operating from pain. You know, um, you need a minute to just deal with that pain that you feel. Now, I'm gonna be honest here. When it happened to me, the first time, I should say, I forgave him, and I'm not good. Did I forgive? I don't know if forgive is the word. I guess it was forgive, because I went home. You know, I went back and tried to make it work, because you had kids and a marriage, and the whole nine. You know how it is, ladies, and even guys, because I know some guys that this has happened to, where their partner stepped out on them, cheated on them. And then you have these women that know that a man is in a relationship, and they still pursue him. You even have guys. I've met guys that when I was married, you're out with your girls, and maybe you dance with them, and you told them you were married when they were trying to like hit on you. And basically they said they didn't care. I was like, well, you're going to be the mistress. And basically, I've had people say yes, men say yes, they don't care. This whole cheating thing, it's just sometimes you don't know what to do. You make stupid decisions. And now that I'm older and I look back on, you know, me being forgiving, and I ask myself, was it worth it? Should I have left that first time and never came back? You know, And I remember my mother told me something like this. She said, he's not a bad person. And if you can weather his storms, I think you will be okay. So I asked her, what does she mean by weather his storms? And basically, my mother explained that, like, some women can, go through these times when their mate cheats, and basically they turn a blind eye, and it might not be, so much turning a blind eye. They love them, and they basically put up with it because they love them. My mother told me that if you choose to weather his storms, basically you're giving him permission to do this. And she said that when you do that, then you can't argue about him cheating. You can't bring it up or be walking around the house giving him the silent treatment, because you decided to weather his storms. And she said, I'm not telling you to leave or to stay. I'm just telling you that when you go back, because when it first happened to me, the first thing I did was, pack my bags and go home to my mother, take my kids and go home. And my mother was like, if you go back, then you're basically giving him permission. Now, at the time, I was young, and I was thinking, giving him permission, actually, I want to fuck him up. Um, so even though that was in my head, you know, I really want to fuck him up, I decided to go back. Now, looking back in hindsight, I asked myself, was it worth it? You know, I had kids, I had a home, I had a relationship that I had been in for, you know, most of my adult life. And did I want to, end it? And I decided to stay. And my mother was right. In hindsight, my mother was right. Because basically after that, there was a shift in the relationship. I felt like I was weak because I had come back and accepted what he did. And now, when I ask myself, was it worth it? I don't think so. Because you waste all those years. And I must say, the person that I was with, I call him a serial cheater. I mean, he was cheating with everything that had a skirt on, in hindsight, And back then I was dumb and blind. Just dumb and blind. I don't even have an excuse for some of the things that I put up with. So that's why when I was talking to my friend today, I wasn't giving advice, because I was stupid, and I'm not the best person to give advice, because I accepted a lot, and in the end, it wasn't worth it, because the reason that we ended up splitting was because of cheating. It's like I got to the point where I said, you know what? I don't deserve this. And I know, well, I found my my self-worth. And it took me a long time, I must admit, to do that. When you love someone, you put up with a lot. You put up with a lot. And some women don't, though. They can have that first cheat and they say, fuck them, I'm out. And some women like me, I don't know if we're not strong enough to do it, or I don't know. Was it our, we don't know our self-worth, and that we don't deserve it even though we love them. And the men that you allow to do that to you, they get a certain arrogance. You know, I'm going to do this. She's not going to do anything but fuss, and, she'll be mad for a few weeks, but then she'll get over it. And that's why I say you start to be weak, you know. And even when I finally decided to walk away, it was like he was shocked and he couldn't believe it. Like, oh, she's finally tired of me. And then he went through this whole campaign where he was trying to win me back, like just on 1,000 trying to do it. And I knew in my heart that um, it was just his ego, that he really didn't want me. He just wanted to prove that if he put his oomph into it, he can get me back. But I remember one time I was sitting in my room and he was knocking on my door. And, your heart wants to let him in, but your head said, no, don't do it. Because, if you let him in, then you're going to be drawn back into that. So I'm just being honest about, when I was younger and, you know, going through something like this, how it made me feel and what I was thinking. And again, that's why today when my friend was telling me, about what was going on in her life, I didn't give advice. I gave support. I never want to be that girlfriend that says, you know what, pack your shit, leave that motherfucker, girl, get your shit in, get your kids and get out of there. I don't want to do that, because I have one friend that her husband cheated a lot, when they were younger. And back then, I used to be telling her, girl, you should leave him, blah, blah, blah. You'll feel stronger. You'll feel better, blah, blah, blah. Now, what I must say in their case, they were able to work through it. And they are still going today. Their marriage is strong. And I don't know how they did it, but I was the type of person that after a while, I was like, I can't take it. I can't. I remember what my mother said about weathering the storms, and I couldn't do it because I'm the type of person, I don't know if it's because I grew up with brothers. I went through, the disbelief, the hurt, and then the anger. I'm the type of person that after a while, I want to cut your damn throat out. So it is not wise to be around me, because I remember a couple times I had hid a hammer under the pillow, and I was waiting for his motherfucking ass to go to sleep. And I swear to God, anger in me was so strong, I wanted to bring that hammer out and fuck him up in his sleep. But then, I thought about I might go to jail and who's going to raise my kids and all that. So, like I said, cheating, wow. Oh my God. Y'all, any of y'all that ever been through it, y'all know what it feel like. And you know what? I know that the comment section is not that big, but tell me about some times that you went through it. Were you the type that, you weathered the storms, as my mother said? Or were you the type of girl that said, fuck him, I'm out of here? I don't know. I was not. I was stupid. I'm going to tell y'all, I put up with so much stuff. So much. And it takes your confidence away. It takes your just everything, your sense of self-worth. And, and then, something, when you're going through it, when it's really bad, like mine was, even though you pretend you're having this life, this relationship, you think, okay, we're still here. We're still doing it. But deep down in your heart, the end is coming. You don't know how it's coming, but you know that this is not going to last. You know it's not. And I remember my family members used to be telling me, get rid of him, do this, and blah, blah, blah. But what I realized is it wasn't over until it was over in my heart. Like I said, he came knocking on my door one night, and it took everything in me not to open that door. So I know when my daughter, you know, gets into one of those deep relationships, and something happens, and I don't wish anything like this on my daughter, but I hope that I will be able to give her good advice and, you know, make her understand her self-worth. Because I have an uncle that told me that when you know your self-worth, you don't allow stuff to happen to you. And I'm going to say again, I didn't know mine for a long time. I didn't know. It took me a long time to feel strong enough to actually leave. And even when I left, it took me, I'm just going to be honest, about a year and a half to 2 years where my heart wasn't still raggedy, if you know what I mean. Took me a long time, even though I was dating, other people and, trying to get out there. He was still in my heart. My head was with someone else, but he was still in my heart. And then I remember around, let's see, year and a half or so, I remember one day I was just bopping along doing errands and, you know, just things that I needed to do. And I realized that I didn't think of him that day. And I remember it so distinctly. I felt the victory. I didn't go to bed at night. And you know how when you're trying to go to sleep and you're just laying in your bed and your mind goes to different things. I remember I didn't think about him. And I realized that I had crossed over. So I'm going to get out of here, but just, talking to my friend tonight brought back a lot of memories. And, I don't know. I was like, I'm just going to go to my channel and I'm going to talk about it. Probably be embarrassed, because I, really told a lot, I think, about myself. And I just wanted to be honest. I told y'all I was a big tender-hearted person. And sometimes when you're like that, you get your heart stepped on. But I'm strong now. I know my self-worth. And that's why when I was talking to my friend, I am not going to give her any advice. I'm just going to be supportive and be there when she cries and cry with her. So with that, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. These are the things that I think about when I'm up at night and I can't sleep. And, one of my friends is having a problem. And this time I said, you know what? I'm just going to go to my channel and talk about it. So you guys have a good night. It is almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm wide awake like it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But you guys have a good night. And thank you for, rolling with me through this video. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.